Jim Pickens has just been sued by 52 different people in a class action lawsuit, and it looks like things are not going to end well. The lawsuit covers his game show, Live or Die, I Literally Do Not Care, and the recent controversy surrounding his cocaine-laced baby formula. Like always, we're just going to go over all of the new updates so you guys are up to date. In the last video, we talked about how other well-known citizens like Death are calling out Jim Pickens for using his younger fans like baby ATM machines and selling them cocaine-laced formula. As we all know, he recently came out with a formula called Babby. This ended up backfiring and getting massive backlash. If you want the entire story, you can watch my last video, but since then there has been so much more news. Jim Pickens has already made a public response to Death several times, and another classic YouTuber, Kiwi May, has joined the fray. And the entirety of Twitter is picking apart Jim Pickens at the seams. It's honestly the best thing ever, finally. So let's start with the lawsuit. Here we have an article by the New York Times. Jim Pickens, cult leader, sued by victims on Live or Die game show with allegations including during sex and drugs and rock and roll. Here we have the actual court papers that I intercepted from Jim's lawyer, and they're 69 pages long, so obviously I'm not going to go through all of them. But basically, the main complaints are failure to keep contestants alive, that seems pretty basic, failure to pay overtime, failure to let contestants leave the basement, failure to prevent murder, failure to provide food, restrooms, or adequate housing for contestants, employment discrimination, and false advertisement. Just a bunch of stuff that's kind of stinky that we've pretty much covered already in my previous videos as well if you've been keeping up with my 50 video saga on Jim Pickens. Several contestants on Jim Pickens' game show ended up hospitalized. Others reported being subjected to boredom, peeing on the floor, being locked in the basement, and seeing Jim woohoo in a bush. From one of the contestants on the show, I wanted to join the great dear leader Jim Pickens' cult because he seemed so charming and always made me smile. I did not expect to be locked in a basement and forced to paint the dear leader over 3,256 times. All hail dear leader Jim Pickens. Okay, so obviously this is a huge deal. We've talked about this in several videos before, talked about the unsafe conditions in Jim Pickens' basement, where allegedly contestants ended up peeing on the floor, were locked into jail cells, and much more. And I clearly remember exactly when I covered it, okay? There were a lot of comments saying, "Why are you making so many videos about a Sam? This isn't important. Are you okay? We're all very worried and here for you." Meanwhile, I literally talked to several of the painters from Jim Pickens' basement in confidence who all reached out to me and told me their stories as long as I didn't tell anyone that they did. That's why I didn't post it on my channel. But yeah, booyah. What did I say? It's now a class action lawsuit and probably the biggest headache that Jim Pickens has ever had, okay? So it's not a trivial situation to have your basement prisoners peeing on the floor, right? When you're making a large-scale cult, you have to be prepared and take care of all your prisoners. Because obviously in a basement cult, there's going to be conflict and drama, and you have to keep your prisoners alive. Here's what people are saying. He'll make a public statement when people say his art is bad, but won't respond to the serious allegations. Jim Pickens' downfall has officially begun. Craziest part is not even paying those artists who work so hard in his basement. This is just insanity, especially for someone like Jim Pickens who spends tens of thousands of simoleons basically randomly. We even got Death chiming in once again. Everything I keep hearing about Jim Pickens breaks my heart. I've even talked to his former husbands saying they ran away because Jim was so controlling. The way he treats others is simply just so disgusting. What if all his cult members sued him for the money he made off their paintings? That would probably end his whole career. Well, he just gave the cult members a brilliant idea. I don't know if they could do that, but I don't know, man. Now the controversy is becoming even more mainstream. All the big news networks are covering it on their homepages. Here we got an article by The Onion. The Jim Pickens Corporation and the Jim Pickens cult are being sued for alleged mistreatment of prisoners in his basement. Now, I imagine Jim is sweating, or crying, or feeling flirty right now, because he wants to avoid losing his cult by absolutely all means, and things just aren't going his way. Everybody is talking about it. He seems to be making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And it turns out the lawsuit is probably going to get even worse. Because Jim Pickens actually ignored his lawyer's advice and continued to film Live or Die, I Literally Do Not Care, and another disaster has happened. One of Jim Pickens' babies was allegedly taken by social services after Jim refused to take care of it while instead woohooing in a bush. This man went from dear leader to the most hated man on the planet in the span of a month. Here's one of the people reporting on the story, and he says, "I can now confirm that last Saturday afternoon that Jim Pickens chose to woohoo in a bush instead of taking care of his own children. Social services were called, and a social worker took his baby into custody where it still remains." Jim Pickens refused to make a statement. Obviously, you gotta refuse to make a system. "Oh, a baby is borderline about to die? No comment. I need to go woohoo in a bush now." So obviously this is why people were actually concerned with Jim Pickens not taking any safety measures when forming his massive cult. He kind of just wants what he wants at any cost. He invests millions of simoleons into that, but apparently not into looking after people's well-being, because people's well-being doesn't earn him any money. Not a true story. This happens all the time when babies get hungry. Not giving Jim a free pass, but if anyone else had a baby taken by social services, it wouldn't be blown this much out of proportions. This is absolutely not the normal. Yeah, I don't think babies are regularly being sent to social services after their parents choose to woohoo in a bush instead of taking care of them. I don't know why people are still glazing Jim Pickens at this point. Death tweeted, "Baby taken by social worker at Jim Pickens' house." I can also confirm that there are more not yet reported cult member deaths as well from the set of the Live or Die game show. This information comes to us only days after reports of not enough safety precautions on the Live or Die I Literally Do Not Care set. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we got a Jim Pickens lawsuit and an all-out massive celebrity brawl. Things are absolutely spicing up in the cult community, and man, I'm running out of Jim Pickens pictures and words. Like, I'm sorry guys, but if you have any thumbnail or video suggestions, just send them to me on Twitter or something. Anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you so much. I value your time, and I promise you I will never sell you cocaine-laced baby formula like this clown. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.